Hi there guys, welcome and thank you for tuning in. These are my post-fight thoughts on Amir Khan's victory over Carlos Molina at the weekend. Molina's corner didn't send him back out for the 11th round. Let's just talk briefly about Carlos Molina. We didn't know a lot about him before this fight, coming into it, and I think we've learned that he's a pretty durable and tough fighter who can take a bit of a punch. Let's give the guy some credit. He got cut in the first round and he lasted until towards the end of the fight with that cut. And I actually think he could have survived for the full 12, if I'm being honest. What I do think we saw is that light welterweight is not really a good division for Carlos Molina to be in. I think the size disadvantage that he will experience and encounter, the lack of power he showed in this fight, I think that he's better suited to lightweight at the moment. Perhaps when he gets a bit more experience and becomes a better fighter, over another couple of years, then maybe he can think about moving up. But if I was him, I think he should take a leaf out of Omar Narvaez's book. If you remember, Narvaez moved from being an unbeaten world champion at super flyweight. He moved up to bantamweight to challenge Nonito Donaire. He was well beaten. He was just too small. So he moved straight back down, and since then he's maintained his world title. He's fought 3 times and won on each occasion. Still unbeaten at that weight, I believe. And he's happy, all is good. So I would advise Carlos Molina to move back down to lightweight. Use this as a positive experience for him, and build on it, and gradually increase his level of opposition at lightweight, and eventually try to get the challenge for a world lightweight title. I think it's within his grasp in the future if he plays his cards right. So that's my take on Carlos Molina. And now I just want to briefly, as briefly as I can, address Amir Khan. Let's just first look at the positives. Something positive that came out of this fight, a slight change we saw, was a bit of patience. It's clear that Virgil Hunter is trying to instill some patience in Khan. There were times when he would walk away from the situation. Even if he landed the punch on Molina and got some success, he would back off and sort of move away, change the angle, reset. We saw, you heard Paulie Malignaggi mention that in a Showtime commentary, and it just slows things down, and he could reset and start again. Not really getting carried away, not staying in the pocket where he's able to get counterpunched. So he showed some good flashes of that in the fight. Now, real concerns from the fight. Molina was one of his main good punches in this fight. Molina, I felt, was his counter hooks, much as in the same style as Danny Garcia. You just got the feeling that if Molina had been a career light welter, if it had been with Danny Garcia in there, we may have seen the same outcome as before. It may have been a knockout loss. He may have hurt Khan, because he did catch Khan on a few occasions with a counter hook, and I just felt that Khan was playing it a bit dangerous at times. He was still at times staying in the pocket for too long, fighting when he shouldn't have fought, when he should have backed off. We weren't expecting miracles. This is only his first fight under Virgil Hunter. It takes a lot of time, far more than one fight, that's for sure. But we did see some slight improvements, but I'm still concerned with that aspect of his game. Now, point I'd like to make, and a bit of advice I would give to Amir Khan if I was training him. Something I think, okay, we've seen the first step, the patience. Now what do we want to see in the second step? In the next fight, what do we want to see he's worked on? If you're playing golf, okay, and you're having a problem with your swing, okay, you're hooking the ball or you're slicing the ball. Whatever you do, you just can't seem to hit the ball straight, yeah? You go to the pro and you say, I need some lessons, I can't hit the ball straight. Can you correct this error? Amongst many other things, one of the things the pro can tell you to do, can ask you to do, is to slow down your swing. Because as amateurs, as amateur golfers, as an amateur golfer, you may see the professionals on the telly and they do it so smooth and quick. Well, it can't be that hard, can it? But then you do it and you can't hit it straight. So they tell you to really, really slow your swing down. Okay? And I mean this slow, if you can see. Really slow on the back. on the uplift, okay, and then come through. One of the main things this does, reason why this, well, in my experience from seeing other people do it and from doing it myself, it does actually help, and in some cases it works perfectly. Reason being because it allows your brain more time to process what you're doing, and even though you're coming through with a quick swing going forward, the backswing slow cuts off half the processing that your brain has to do to try and recalibrate your movements to get you in perfect line and actually do what you're telling it to do. So you're allowing the brain more time to think, you're slowing everything down, giving yourself time to think. Brain's allowed to work more efficiently and effectively, and you end up with, quite possibly solving your problem. Amir Khan suffers from a very similar problem in boxing. If I was Virgil Hunter right now, I would ban Amir Khan from throwing anything above a 3-punch combination. You might think that's a bit stupid. You might be saying, well, why? That's one of his main assets. He throws brilliant combinations. His hand speed is a gift. And he showed tremendous hand speed in this fight. But I would put to you that no, that is the very root of the issue, the very root of the problem Amir Khan has. The fact that he abuses his natural abilities. It's very easy when you have a natural ability like Khan has with hand speed and combination punching to abuse it, not to respect it. Yeah, to not be as selective as you should be with using that skill. And he's actually putting himself in probably as much danger as he's putting his opponent in. Because let's face it, he didn't really hurt Carlos Molina in this fight. Yeah, through a lot of quick punches, overwhelmed Molina at times with the barrage of combinations. He didn't really hurt him that badly. But you always felt in the back of your mind, if Molina lands one punch to Amir Khan's 5, he can hurt Khan. Therein lies the problem. I would really come down hard on Khan if I was training him. The restriction, like I said, is a maximum of 3-punch combination. And I would be trying to get him to use that jab, the good jab, which he showed in this fight as well. He's got a good stiff jab. Use that stiff jab, even just with the one follow-up. 2-punch combination, stiff jab followed by a straight right. Reason being, when Khan is throwing these 5-punch combinations, okay, it looks good. But he's forced to come in on the opponent. He's reaching in to get to the opponent. Amir Khan needs to maintain distance. If he maintains distance, he's going to be very, very difficult to beat. Because there's probably no one else in the division that can live with him in terms of movement and hand speed. Let's face it, they're not going to. If he'd had distance against Garcia didn't have a hope. Garcia's relying on him coming in, leaving himself exposed, so he can actually feed off the scraps and get that counter hooking, which is Garcia's strength. When he's throwing these 5-punch combinations, Khan's going up top, going down below, and he's lunging, he's leaning in, he's forcing himself closer to the opponent, leaving himself in the pocket. Let's do the golf swing thing. Let's slow things down. Let's reduce things. Let's be more selective. Let's pick when we're going to throw combinations. And let's throw less punches. But let's put more into the punches that you do throw. How about doing that? Let's go back to basics. So first of all, let's just get the jab working. Then when you feel the time's right, when the guy's off balance, keep him off balance with the jab. When he's off balance, he's not going to be able to time you as well. Then you go through with a straight right. Yeah? Even if you're feeling very confident, you really feel like he's off balance and he's not going to be able to time a counter, straight jab followed by straight right and come in with a body shot. 3-punch combo. You are not allowed, Mr. Khan, to go beyond 3 punches. Because if you do, you are entering a realm where you may not wake up from. Because if you go in against Danny Garcia, like you did against Carlos Molina at times, throwing the 5-punch combinations, pleasing the crowd, you are likely to get put on the seat of your ass again. That's my point. That's the point I want to make. Reduce the punches, be more selective, maintain distance. By throwing few punches and more selective punches, it slows everything down. He's not, his brain doesn't have to catch up with the millions of punches. And let me ask you this. Amir Khan's opponent has 2 free hands, okay, to defend himself with when Khan's throwing those combinations. If his opponent's struggling to keep up with the punches that Amir Khan's throwing to protect himself with 2 free arms, how the hell do you expect this kid who's throwing the 5-punch combination to protect himself during all this? It just can't, it's not done. You know, time for more selective, cleverer boxing. And gone should be the 5-punch combination, the 4-punch combination. The 3-punch combination should be used only when you are certain, when you are feeling that it is necessary to take a calculated risk. Most of the time I'd rather see Khan just throw good solid punches with intention, but in 2s, max. I want the jab all the time. I want a distance with the jab because he's got a good jab. And then I want the straight right from time to time. But I want it thrown with conviction. I don't want him to lunge in, I want him to maintain distance, but I want him to throw with conviction. So I want him to have a stiff jab in their face all the time. Then I want him to have a straight right coming. Boom. Yeah? With power. Not 5, powder puff punches that they're going to take one to give one. And they think, we've seen in the past, he's not throwing with power. He's throwing with 5-punch combination. Looks good, but there's not real power behind it. So Garcia can take 2 to the body to give 1 to the head. Chances are, Khan's the one that ends up on the floor. So, they're my points. I think you should slow it down. I think you should be restricted in combination punching. I think that's the root of the problem. I've watched this now, and I've come to the conclusion, based on this fight now, that the weaknesses I saw, the combinations are the key. What you think is Amir Khan's advantage is actually his disadvantage. Thanks for watching.